welcome to everybody to Bleeding on the Homestead. Today I want to show you my firewood storage and my firewood inventory because it's the end of the wood burning season and time to restock for the next year. Please follow me and let me show you what's going on my little homestead in Virginia. Here you go. So here I store the majority of my firewood in these storage areas that I build with salvage material. This is firewood is probably a couple year old, ready to burn, mostly oak and maples. There's some hot hickory in it, and this is one of the two racks that I have. The second rack over here is about the same size as the first one. However, it's empty right now because that's all we use for over the last winter for firewood to heat our home and do some partial cooking. On top of that, I built these structures here that are 4 foot, 8 foot long, 4 foot tall, and that's probably the equivalent of a face cord. They are covered with shingles, and each one of these I have 6 of those. Again, they were built with scrap materials, and here I have 4 of the 6 structures completely full with firewood that's been cut over a year ago, so it's ready to burn. And then I have 2 more of these racks that are completely empty that I use the firewood from last year. So over one winter, these 2 racks were emptied out, and this rack here, this storage area here, is emptied out too. Last year I prepared a big pile of firewood that was cut and split, ready to dry. And this firewood here that was fresh last year, it will probably be relocated on the racks here and in this storage area. Meanwhile, the month of January and February and the good chunk of March, I went in work mode, and I processed a bunch of firewood out of my homestead and the surrounding forest, and I found a lot of fallen trees that have been here for years, and I managed to cut all these in round and logs, pretty much the size that I will need for fire burning. Now, over the summer, I will process all this firewood, or a good chunk of it, I will split it and store it and restock this area here where they will probably initially starting the drying process, and then next year they will be rotated. So in general, this is my main storage areas. I probably store the equivalent of 2, 6, 7, 8 cords of firewood. That's probably what I need for a couple years of firewood burning seasons. However, this is not where I come and get the firewood every day in the wintertime to use it for my wood stove. Please, let's go to my other storage area where I'll show you where in my yard where I store the wood for the wintertime. Okay, this is the areas where I store wood during the winter times, and this is very close to the house, and here I keep the equivalent of about 1.5 cords of firewood, and that's enough for the house for at least 3 months of through the winter. So one time, once or twice a year, this area needs to be refilled from firewood that comes from the main storage areas. I built these out of scrap lumber. I have sections here where I keep a wheelbarrow, so that helps me move the firewood from these areas close to the house. And then I have a small storage shed here that I build attached to the firewood storage areas, where I store all the chainsaw and firewood equipment. This area is strategically located next to my pizza oven, so when I need the firewood for cooking pizza or to do outside fire pit, this is in the yard and is ready to go. On top of that, under the storage area of the pizza oven, I keep milk crates for kindling. The kindling is necessary to start the fire, of course, and you gotta have opportunity to collect and store that. Here I have scrap wood at this point in time, but sticks and twigs will work just fine. So from here, the firewood is then moved to close proximity to the stove or to the house, which is on the deck right here. And I have my next storage area. This area right here is a small cradle that I built that hosts the equivalent of a full wheelbarrow, a heaping full wheelbarrow full of firewood. I can store firewood here in the winter time, and that's probably the equivalent for about 2 or 3 days of firewood burning inside of the house. From here, so the firewood is taken from there, and again, you know, it's a lot of relocation of firewood, it's a lot of hard wood. Then from here we store, it can go inside of the house. Ooh. Oh. Firewood is collected here in this little cradle, and usually you have here enough firewood to burn for the entire day. It's important you have enough firewood inside the house for one single day, because that gives you the options to decide at what time of the day you want to refill this area. So if you want to wait maybe until the rain stops to refill it. This container right here, usually I use it to store kindling, and that goes for several weeks. Well, from there then the firewood makes its final trip to the wood stove, where it starts generating heat and keeps us warm. But it's a lot of steps and a lot of work. Well, thank you for looking at these short videos, and I'll see you guys on the next one.